So let's take a look at the Power Automate part first. So what we would be tempted to do is use the add member to a team action from the Teams connector directly. And here we just have to type in the user ID or the email address and then select a proper team. We are good to go. However, we have a big problem over here that can be a really big constraint in our solution. In our case, the user that is running this flow may not have access to the teams, to the target teams that we put in this parameter, meaning that this is not going to work because if we don't have access to the team as an owner or a member, we cannot invite other people inside the team. And how can you verify this? Well, if you take a look at the connection here, where we are using a connection reference, but connection or connection reference, if you want to change the user or the authentication method here for this connector, you have to add a new one. And the only option that you have here is doing this sign in, which will pop up the OAuth authentication method, meaning that we are going to be using my user or the user that we are editing the flow with as the one creating or executing this action over here. So instead, we need to use another method. And then we jump back to the diagram, and what we need to use is the Graph API. So using the Graph API will allow us to use the same action. And if we jump to the Graph API, add a member to a team, this is the action that we are using in Power Automate, but using the Graph API in raw, let's say. But here, if we use directly the Graph API, take a look here. We have the delegated permission type. This is the OAuth method, the one that we use inside Power Automate. So with the user authoring the flow, or we use the application permission type, meaning that we use an application as service principal to do this action. And take a look at the permissions that we need are the same. However, one thing is using it as an application, and another thing is using it as a user. What's the difference? With the application, any team, and with the user, all the teams I have access to. All right.